All of the various mediums appear to be working. Welcome to those of you who have joined so far. You still have 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So take your time if you're doing some other stuff before we get started. Just giving folks time to join. Because y'all might have noticed I tend to talk a lot, and I've been trying to start early so I can get through everything and give you guys a decent Savasana. Happy Easter to everyone who is celebrating, or even if you're not celebrating, happy Sunday. Hopefully everyone is doing well. I have to say, I'm actually starting to freeze a little down here in my little basement, so looking forward to getting moving with y'all. Awesome. Got some more folks joining us on Zoom. For class today, guys, props are always optional, always. But if you like to have blocks typically in your practice, you might want to grab like some books, or if you like a box or even like a dining room chair in front of your mat could be a thing to prop your hands on when we move forward and back on the mat. If that all is sort of clear as mud to you, by all means, don't worry about it. You will see what I mean. I'll actually get my blocks. They're above my head. Oh. And for those of you on Zoom, just remember to please have yourselves on mute during class. I took one the other day where someone forgot to mute themselves, and it was very distracting as a practitioner. Whoever has most recently made a noise, that's the screen that appears. So even if you're trying to watch me, you won't be able to watch me as well. Just to remind y'all, I am a one-woman show here, so unfortunately, if you got questions during class, I'm not going to be able to respond right away. But please do feel free to send me a message or send Hot Yoga a message, Hot Yoga Capitol Hill a message, and we can respond. If you signed up on Zoom, you got an email from me, feel free to reply to that email. But, you guys know the drill. This is all about your practice and what you need. So by all means, modify, skip things that don't seem like they're appropriate for you, change them up in ways that are better. Another great thing to have handy if you would like, if you've got sensitive knees, maybe grab a towel and have it handy so that you can put it under your back knee. We will do some work in lower lunges with our back knee down, and that will just give your patella some padding if it tends to be kind of sensitive in movements. You've got 2 minutes, so no rush, guys, if you are sort of slowly working your way in. Hey, Mama. My mom is joining class today, guys. And I see that Jess made it. Awesome. So just a quick recap for folks in case you are just joining us. Props optional, but something to pad your back knee might be nice. If you like to have support moving back and forth on the mat, something like a block or a box full of sweaters or a chair or a bunch of books might be helpful for you. If you like to practice consistently with a strap and you've got a tie, a scarf, a very long sock, those might be useful things for you. I did share a playlist on my yoga teacher. Oh, sweet, my sister has also joined. Hi, Elsa. I did share a Spotify playlist on Instagram in my stories and on my personal yoga teacher Facebook page. So if you would like to check that out and you'd like to practice with music, that's optional. If you have other playlists you like, if you don't want music at all and you just want to listen to your breath, I'll admit in my home practice, I don't really listen to music. Teaching here, I don't have any music on in the background. I enjoy it, obviously, but I don't tend to even notice it in class unless it seems really abrasive or it's a higher energy class myself. As always, guys, listen to your body. I think I already said this a second ago, but for those of you who just joined, do what's going to be best for you. Modify as you see fit. Switch things up. I know that I am pretty strong and pretty bendy, and it's easy to see me and try to mimic what I'm doing, especially because I'll be doing this with you. But of course, guys, you don't need to look like me in yoga poses, right? That's not the point. So honor your bodies. Remember, this class is free because of our very generous owner, Laura Atella, has made sure that it is. But if you can afford to make a donation, not required, especially if you are in a position where this pandemic has really adversely affected you, we totally get it. But if you can afford to, it's through our Mind Body page. It's the tab that's services, I believe. And then there's a donations option, and I can always walk you guys through it. We also shared it to our Facebook and our Instagram recently. So yeah, those are all those things. So today, I really want us to kind of work on embracing the ugly. And this is sort of something we've been talking about the last few weeks in various guises. But I know, especially in situations like this pandemic that we are currently in, it's really easy to get to this place of like, what is this? Why am I having to go through this? Or even just like, this is crazy and stressful. And sometimes embracing the ugly parts in life are the best ways we learn about life, right? So I'm going to teach some transitions today that are not seamless. They are not smooth. They're going to be kind of funky. It'll probably be kind of ugly in terms of just like visual aesthetic appeal. And that's the point, right? Like, life isn't always smooth and streamlined. So you do what's going to be best for you. And we're going to get into these shapes, how you can get into these shapes. If you can, or if you haven't, do make sure on Zoom to mute yourselves. I'm not going to be able to see you very well. I'm going to try to check in periodically, but it's going to be hard for me to run back and forth. So you might as well just turn your cameras off, unless that helps you just kind of see where you are in space, then you do you. And let's get started today on our backs, please. So starting in a nice, comfortable Savasana. And of course, if starting on your back is not a good option for you, by all means, you can start in a fetal position. If you like to start in a seated meditation, if child's pose is better for you, we will do a little bit of core to start, but I'll let you guys know when we get there. For those of you joining with that playlist I shared, I'll let you know when to turn it on. And once you find a Savasana, a shape that is good for you to start in, whatever that shape is, just kind of take a minute to do that mental check-in. Are you tensing your shoulders to your ears? Are you tensing through your hips? Is your low back feeling kind of strained? And just start to find those places where you feel like you're tensing and let them sink right down, right? You already have gravity working against you all day long, so this is one of those great times where you can let gravity do what it does best and do nothing to fight it, right? It's just going to push you into that floor and you just get to chill out. If you haven't and it's comfortable for you, start to close your eyes. And as you close those eyes, just check in with your breath. And if you like to come straight to an Ujjayi, that's great. If it's easier for you just to start checking in mentally with that breath, noticing how it feels in the body, do that. But as you start to focus inwards, as you find that breath, begin to let your body relax a little bit more. And then as you do so, start to focus on making your breath bigger, or more dynamic, or more encompassing of your attention. So as you inhale, starting to practice that 3-part breath where you fill up your belly, your rib cage, and your throat. And as you exhale, emptying out through your throat, your rib cage, pulling your belly button into your spine. So you're also starting to tell your transverse abdominis, your lower abdominals, hey, we're here. Again, big inhale through your belly, let everything relax, let your rib cage expand. It's made to do that. And then as you exhale, let everything pull in. Don't round your chest though, right? Let yourself sink heavy on the floor. Just think about pulling that belly button in. And continue this focus here on this 3-part breath for just a little bit. Really trying with each of those inhales just to take in a little bit more air. And can each of your exhales take a little bit longer? Can you take more, push more air out than you think you have? And your exhales will probably be a little bit longer than your inhales. That's normal. So starting to let that breath start to be that thing that drives your energy, that focus, that force of your practice, right? Pranayama is the gateway to your energy. It's the gateway to really just the whole part of the entirety of your yoga practice. It's that gateway to your mindfulness. That's the word I was looking for. So let's start with a few intentional breaths together. Big exhale out your mouth, empty your lungs. Big inhale through your nose. And then sigh out through your mouth. Again, big, deep, full inhale through your nose. And out through your mouth. Last time, big inhale. Hold it full for just a moment. Big open mouth exhale. And now we'll find your Ujjayi breathing. So breathing in and out through your nose, continuing to practice that 3-part breath. And as you exhale out your nose, just that slight restriction to the back of your throat. You might sound a little Darth Vader-ish. And that's exactly what we're going for. Remember, if you're congested, if you're having trouble breathing through your nose, you can always stop and take rest, find your breath again. You're always welcome to practice a different breath, maybe in and out through your mouth a little bit. Just make sure you don't lose control, right? You're still in charge of that breath. And start to add in some wiggles here, guys. Fingers, toes. You're welcome to twist out your wrists and your ankles. Maybe you rock your head side to side, stretch out the sides of your neck. Any kind of shimmies through your shoulders, totally welcome. And then in the next breath or so, bring your knees into your chest. And you're very welcome to wiggle around. You can draw some circles with your knees, with your hips. Make sure to do both ways. Maybe you want to be still. You can be still. If you're ready to make yourself a yogi ball, you can always bring your forehead to your knees, bear hug your thighs. Whatever feels good to you. Give it 1 or 2 more breaths to kind of wiggle around. And then in the next breath or so, wrapping up that movement, coming to stillness. And we're going to go ahead and bring those knees so they stack directly above your hips. Shins are parallel to the floor and toes are pointed. Sorry, I just realized I'm cutting off my head. For those of you on Facebook, let me shimmy. And we're going to come into a series of core work here. Now, keep in mind, you are always welcome to not do full extension. So we're going to extend one of our legs. I better move that box so I don't kick it. But you are very welcome to keep your knees bent. Do also feel free to keep your legs fairly high instead of going low, and you'll see here what I'm talking about in just a second. Keeping the back of the head down, you're welcome to kind of shimmy your shoulder blades a bit closer. Arms are going to reach up to the ceiling. Take a big inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to extend that right leg long. Maybe you keep a slight bend, and the left arm is going to drop back behind your head. Now be careful. Your left knee is going to want to come with your arm. Don't let it. Keep it where it is. On your inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, left leg goes long, right arm goes above the head. Same thing, try to keep that right leg where it is. Maybe the left knee stays bent a little bit. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, right leg, left arm. Inhale, center. Exhale, left and right. Inhale, center. Exhale, right leg, left arm. Now keep going here at your own pace. Don't worry too much if you start to mix it up and you do same arm, same leg. Totally okay. There's not any real right or wrong per se here. Really the most important thing is as you continue to pull in your low belly, make sure that you're also pulling into the upper part of your abdominal wall. So it's that sensation of low belly or belly button to your spine and then lifting up. So like you're trying to bring your low belly button back behind your rib cage. Almost there. Let's do 5 more both sides. So very subtle exercise here, just starting to find your transverse abdominis. Just starting to kind of warm up your hips too, or hopefully you're feeling that. So there are last 3 both sides. 2. Last round, both sides. I think I actually got mixed up. I missed one. Now I'm even. And then once you come back to center, bring your knees into your chest. Again, any wiggles that feel good here. You're welcome to rock side to side, draw some circles. Apology, guys. You'll notice my counting. Not always great, but I'll do my best. From here, hands to the backs of your thighs. Option 1, rock up and down your spine. Option 2, if that's not a great option for you, you're always welcome to roll into one side in a fetal position and come up to meet us. But either way, we're going to meet in a tabletop shape. However you want to get there. Now for my folks who have sensitive knees, we're not going to be here for a ton of time, but we will be hanging out here for a little bit. So if your knees are sensitive, you can always take your mat and roll it up a couple of times. Again, if you've got a towel, a blanket handy, feel free to do that. I just recommend not a fleece blanket. They're smooth, they slide around a lot. And just take that moment, look down at your wrists, make sure that they're directly below your shoulders or ish. Look back at your knees, make sure they're not touching, bring them hips distance apart. For most of us, it's about an iPhone's distance or so. And then check in here with your low back. Of course, it wants to curve, it's what it's made to do, but instead tuck your pelvis under, right? So it's that tilt of your hips, so your hip points feel like they're pulling up towards your belly button. As you do so, do pull in that low belly just a little bit, and then check in with your shoulders. We tend to collapse, so can you pull the shoulder blades apart? Think front of the ribs to the back, so the ribs are that doming. Take just a moment here. Find that length through your spine. Find some stillness for just a moment. Big breath. And then we'll start with some cat-cow tilts. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. Exhale, tuck your chin around. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Really focusing here as you go with your own pace on letting that spine move you, right? So find a place that feels good. Don't worry about how it looks like. Don't worry about what depth you find yet. Just make sure it's a nice slow pace that helps you feel like you're warming up. If other movements feel good, if you want to roll through your rib cage, if you like wrist stretches here, I personally really like wrist stretches here. That might not be for you. But anything that feels good, just take some free movement. Take your time with your breath. Let's do 2 more rounds of breath. You should be wrapping up that next exhale here in just a moment. As you're ready, finding your neutral tabletop once more. Making sure once more that your hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are stacked. The nice thing about filming myself is I can tell I make myself shorter than I actually am. And then from here, curl your toes under. We're not going to find a down dog yet. Instead, we're going to do just a teeny bit more core. So once more, tuck that pelvis. Think low belly to your belly button, or rather belly button to your spine, and then lift it up, right? So you're pulling in through your upper abdominals. We call it knitting your ribs, but don't move your ribs. You don't want your diaphragm playing in, you're joining in. We want your transverse abdominis, right? So upper abdominals should feel tight. From here, plant through those palms. If that's hard on your wrists, make some fists. And as you curl the toes, just lift your knees to hover about an inch above the mat. Start to pull into that low belly. Now, we're going to just hold here. So if you feel like this is pretty easy and you want some more work, you're welcome to just keep yourself in that shape and extend one leg behind you. Put your foot back down and switch. If you're like, Kayleigh, this is already a lot, then stay here and breathe. Don't hold that breath. You can also start to shimmy the hips, drop one knee at a time towards the mat. You got some options here, but really, really keeping that core low if you're doing anything with your legs from your hips down. Let's just hang out for 2 more big breaths. And then slowly lower down to your knees. As you do so, feel free to kind of shimmy it out. If you want to do another round of cat-cow so that you can stretch out your core, do feel free. And then plant down firmly through those palms. Once more, think front of the ribs to the backs of the ribs. You're not collapsing in your chest. You're pushing the mat away. Almost like it feels like you're trying to pull your own shoulder out of your socket. Not that much force, of course, but enough that it feels like you're lengthening. Rotate your inner elbows to the front of the mat so the pointy parts of your elbows face the back of your mat. Pull in that low belly, so check in with that curvature of your low back, right? Tuck the pelvis. Step your feet back, plank pose. Now you are always welcome to drop down to your knees and untuck the toes and a knee down push up, right? But make sure you're not back here in a tabletop. You're in that long plank. Check in with your low back. Did you let it curve? Pull that low belly in. Small curve is okay. Big curve, a lot of pressure on your spine. Again, pull the belly button in. We're just going to take 1 more big breath. I know we've been here for a bit. And then curl your toes, lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, and breathe. Now, option 1 here is actually to come back to your tabletop. So if you find that down dog is not a great shape for you today, tabletop is totally an option. If you're in your down dog, check in here with your alignment, hands and feet roughly the distance they were on a plank, but feel free to shorten your stance a smidge. Look at your toes. Keep your head there the whole time so your neck is nice and loose. You're not straining. And as you gaze at your toes, make sure they're about that hips distance apart. Press your heels to the mat, but if that hurts your low back, bend your knees, and then no matter where you are in your shape, try to lift your booty towards the back of the room. You're squeezing your inner thighs towards each other without moving your feet like you've got a block in between your thighs you don't want to drop, and you're pushing your femurs towards the wall behind you or behind you. Now from here, check in with your shoulders. If there's a lot of weight in your hands, push that mat away, lift your hips up a little bit higher, just a little bit of weight in your hands. And then think again about pulling the front of the ribs to the backs of the ribs so you're not adding a back bend in here. Let's just take 2 more big rounds of breath. Last one. Now without shifting forward, just lift your gaze to the top of your mat. Come high onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees, stomach to your thighs. Now step your feet forward to a forward fold, Uttanasana. We're in a ragdoll pose here, so feet, hips, distance. You can always measure that with your 2 fists. Let the head be heavy. You can grab opposite elbow with opposite hand. You are very welcome to pedal out the feet, shake your head yes and no. Any shimmies that feel good, shimmy them, right? This is all about just letting your spine decompress, letting gravity pull your head towards the mat. So no right or wrong. If you're feeling like your hamstrings are super tight, bend your knees and then lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling. That'll also give your low back a lot of great support here. Let's just take 2 more big breaths. And then slowly release your fingertips to the floor if they're not there already. On your inhale, find a flat back, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands are to your shins, below your knees. Shoulders roll back, maybe your hands come above your knees on your thighs. Think about pulling that belly button in and lengthening the crown of your head to the top of the mat, finding that upside down L shape. And exhale, fold forward, feel free to bend your knees. Plant down through your big toes, inhale, slowly roll to rise. And exhale to stand tall at the top of your mat, Tadasana mountain pose. Now your first option here is that your feet can stay hips distance if that's where they are. Option 2 is that they can come into touch. Neither's better, just find that place where you feel stable. As you plug down into your feet, spread your toes and dig them into the mat. Then lift up through your quadriceps, so it feels like you're lifting your kneecaps up, you're squeezing your thighs towards each other a smidge. Check in with that low back, tuck your pelvis, pull in the low belly, and as you pull the low belly in again, think about lifting it up so you're lengthening through your core, a little bit through your obliques, but relax your shoulders and close your eyes. This is a great time to set an intention. If eyes closed make you feel dizzy, gentle gaze at the floor in front of you. But really keep lengthening up through the side of the body like you could slowly grow taller at the same time as you dig all 4 corners of your feet. So the 2 final points under the ball of your foot, the 2 back points under your heel. Press into the floor like you're trying to grow roots. Maybe you set an intention for your practice if you like to. Again, my focus today, my encouragement for you is to embrace the ugly. Take a big inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. Flutter your eyes open, Surya Namaskara A. Remember, my ceiling's too low for me to extend my arms all the way, so you're going to see me cactus. You do you. Inhale, reach the arms up. Maybe your palms press, Urdhva Hastasana, extended mountain pose. Exhale, draw your hands to heart center, Namaskara. Again, inhale to reach the arms up. Maybe your palms press, maybe not. Maybe you look up. Exhale, pull that low belly in, draw your hands through heart center as you fold forward and bring all 10 fingers to the floor or even your shins if the floor feels too far away today. Inhale to that flat back, roll the shoulders away from your ears and keep pulling into that low belly. Exhale to fold forward, plant your hands and find your plank pose, your push-up shape. Now again, wrap those inner elbows towards the front of your mat. Dig all 10 fingertips, all 10 knuckles into the floor. Then lower down to your knees. We're going to modify our first chaturanga vinyasa. Look forward, inhale. Exhale, elbows to your ribs. Lower halfway, chaturanga dandasana on your knees. Slowly lower to your bellies. Feet, hips, distance apart. Inhale, baby cobra, bhujangasana. Roll the shoulders back. Very little weight in your hands. Exhale to release. Plant your hands, curl your toes from knees or toes. Find your push-up. And then lift your hips, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, or tabletop, if tabletop is better for you. Let's take 2 big breaths. Now again, don't shift forward, just bend your knees, look to the top of your mat, and then step your feet forward to meet your hands, forward fold, Uttanasana, beautiful. Inhale to your flat back, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to fold forward with a slight bend in your knees. We'll inhale, reverse swan dive to stand. Come up with a straight spine, arms extend. Exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, extended mountain pose. Maybe you gaze up. Exhale, low belly in, hands through heart center. Slowly fold forward, all 10 fingers to the floor or your shins. Inhale, flat back, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana, plant the hands, step back, push up, plank. We'll take our first full Chaturanga vinyasa together, but feel free to lower down to your knees if that was a better option for you. We'll take a big deep inhale here, shift a little bit further forward, look forward. Exhale, lower halfway, elbows to your ribs, Chaturanga Tadasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. It's just the tops of your feet and hands on the mat, so make sure that your thighs are lifted. Roll the shoulders back. And then exhale, curl your toes, lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, or tabletop if that's a better option for you. And breathe. So keep in mind, guys, those are always optional. They are never required, so do what is best for you today. Feel free to do them sometimes. Feel free to do other variations that you prefer. Feel free to just hang out in cat-cow tilts. That's a totally great option as well, especially if you have any sensitivities around your spine or your core. Let's just do one more big deep breath in your shape. Then inhale, extend your right leg long behind you, three-legged dog. Again, you can do this from tabletop as well. It's totally an option. On your exhale, bend your knee, open your hip. Just take a moment to open up to that inner thigh. Maybe you can make some circles here with your ankle, with your knee. If this is hard on your shoulders, again, tabletop, option 1. Option 2, you can always lower down to that left forearm. That might just help give you some better support. But equal weight in both of your hands. Let's just take one more big breath. Slowly unwind, inhale, three-legged dog, square your hip to the floor, make sure all 5 of your right toes reach towards your mat. Exhale, bring your right knee to your nose, shift forward. Now don't do your shoulders like your cat's breath, pull your right heel towards your bum. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, right knee to your nose. Last time, inhale. Exhale, right knee to your nose, heel towards your bum, press the mat away. Now this time, stay here, look forward, step your right foot in between your hands, maybe flex your foot as you do so. And don't worry, this is one of those parts where I'm talking about embracing the ugly, right? For a lot of us, that comes here. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but who cares, right? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. You're in your shape. If that back leg, or rather if your knees are sensitive, you're going to want to put a blanket down here, fold your mat over. Lower down to your left knee, untuck your left toes, rise up and interlace all 10 fingers on your right thigh. Whew. I need to remember to breathe myself. Now use that interlacing of your fingers to push the right knee away from you and encourage that left hip forward just a smidge. The more you press into the top of your left foot, the more you'll get a stretch in that front part of your left hip, but totally optional if that feels like it's too much for you today. I'm going to turn to show you guys what we're doing next. From here, let's take an inhale, extend the arms out to frame the face. And on your exhale, right hand's gonna grab your left wrist, just very, very gently bend towards your right leg. And the reason we're bending towards the right leg and not away from it is it's easier to fall over, right? So this is giving you a point to dig into. Be careful you're not collapsing through your chest, though. Pull that left shoulder back. Keep pulling in those lower abdominals. If this feels really good, you can always lower that right hand towards the floor or even tap your fingers into it or block here if you've got a block handy, or even just bring your right hand to your right hip. Let's take one more big inhale. Exhale, unwind back to center, 2 arms frame your face, take an inhale to reset. And exhale, 2 hands down to frame your right foot. From here, look to the top of your mat. Again, we're not gonna launch, we're gonna curl the left toes, lift the left knee, shorten your stance a smidge, and then as you look forward, inhale, exhale to slowly step that left foot forward, maybe even drag your toes in lieu of launching. So not momentum, muscles. Inhale, flat back, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. From here, wiggle your feet hips distance apart. Again, feel free to measure that. We're going to plant that right hand, option 1, underneath your nose, or on a block or something like a block below your nose. Option 2, you can always just rest your right hand on your right shin or even on your right thigh, it's not your knee. From here, bring your left hand to your left hip. Inhale, twist towards your left. You're going to straighten-ish, maybe all the way your left leg, but keep that right knee bent. You can look at the wall in front of you. If that feels okay, you might look up. If it feels all right on your shoulder, you might extend that left arm. Up to you guys. Find the place where it feels best to stay and breathe 2 big breaths. Last one. On the base of your exhale, lower that left hand down. Now again, you can plant it underneath your nose on the mat or a block. Maybe your hand comes somewhere on the left leg that's not your knee. Right hand to your right hip. Inhale, twist to your right. Maybe you look forward, maybe you look up, maybe the right arm extends. Up to you. 2 more breaths here. Last one. Slowly release both hands down to the mat. Inhale, flat back, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reverse swan dive to stand. Come up with that straight spine, arms extend. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Namaskar. Now again, working through the ugly transitions, right? Not worrying about whether or not it looks aesthetically pleasing. So we're going to plant down through that right foot. Dig your right toes into the mat. Keep pulling into that low belly. Hands can stay at heart or hands can come to your hips. On your inhale, bring your left thigh parallel to the floor. I'm keeping a 90-degree angle-ish here in my leg. You can tell it's a little bit worker than that. Pulling my left toes back towards my face and really pulling into that low belly so I'm standing nice and tall. From here, take a big inhale. Now on your exhale, we're going to find warrior three slowly. So slowly pulling into that low belly, slowly bringing the body parallel to the floor, extending that left leg long behind us and then squaring that left hip down. Maybe you have a support here for your hands and it's more of a supported L shape. That's totally okay, but take one more inhale. On your exhale, bend that right knee gently, step that left foot back. If you need to, shimmy, 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 get into your shape. Inhale, crescent lunge on the ball of your back foot. And exhale, cactus your arms, goalpost style. From here, inhale, just drop the head back a little bit. Exhale, two hands down to frame your right foot. Lower down to your left knee. And then here's one of the parts where this transition's not going to be super smooth. Find your way to standing on both knees in the middle of your mat. Right, mixing it up. We're going to do a round of camel, but don't worry about your depth. We're just gently opening up to the chest. So feet, knees, hips distance. Hands to your low back, pinkies and thumbs out. Don't try to go for depth. We're just going to take one big inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the gaze, press the hips forward. Exhale, gently release, plant your hands. Find your push-up, shape your plate. Vinyasa or skip it. Meet me in down dog. Right? So mixing it up, finding that place where we're like, oh, this is weird and not something we normally do. And also treating it in a different way. We normally go, sorry, I'm sitting so that I can see you. Feel free to hang out in your down dog or tabletop. So just take that moment here. Let yourself reset. That's what the Chaturanga Vinyasa is about. We'll do it on the other side. Everybody reset here with your breath. Big exhale out your mouth. Big inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. Other side. Inhale, extend that left leg long behind you, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend your knee, open your hip again. Try to kick yourself in the butt. Both hands have equal weight. Feel free to wiggle that ankle. Feel free to draw circles with the knee. Maybe you just stay still. Maybe you do this from tabletop. Maybe you lower down to your right forearm. Lots of options. 2 more breaths in our shape. Last one. Inhale, unwind that left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to your nose. Maybe from tabletop, maybe in your plank, but dome your shoulders. Think cat's breath. Inhale up. Exhale, knee to nose. Last time, inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose. Look forward, stay here, flex that left foot. Can you step your left foot through to meet your hands? Whether it's gracefully or otherwise, who cares? Again, if you want to put something under your back knee for some padding, do so. Then lower down to your right knee. Untuck your toes. Rise up on that left thigh. Try to interlace your fingers the weird way too. So as you do it, it's trying to kind of mess with that dominance in your brain. Press the thigh away. Pull that left hip back just a smidge. Press the right hip forward just a smidge. Right, our left knee's 90 degrees-ish, right? But roll the shoulders back. Take a big inhale. And exhale. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, left hand grabs your right wrist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend toward your left thigh. Nice and gentle. Now again, you're welcome to stay here. You're welcome to bring that left hand to your thigh or your hip to counterbalance. Left fingers can reach towards the floor or to block. Find the place that's best for you. 2 more big breaths. Last one. Inhale back to center. Exhale, 2 hands down to frame that left foot. Now again, you're not launching off your back foot with momentum. Let's use our muscle strength here. So curl the back toes. Lift that back knee, maybe shorten your stance a smidge, and then look to the top of your mat. Can you drag your toes and gently step that right foot to the left foot? Inhale, flat back, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Again, feet are hips distance. Plant that right hand on the floor or block or shin. Inhale, a twist towards your left. Maybe the arm comes straight right away. Maybe your hand stays on your hip. Up to you. Optional to look up, but make sure that that right knee is bent. Left leg can be straight or bent. Either is fine. Inhale. Exhale, left hand down. Switch sides. Feel free to modify as you need to. Extend that right arm up. Maybe your hand's on your hip. Roll that right shoulder back. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reverse one dive to stand. Exhale, hands to your heart center, namaskar. I'll show you guys from the front. So this time, plant down through that left foot. Feel free to do the 2 L's here. Hands can be on your hips or stay at heart, up to you. Bring that right thigh up parallel to the floor. Flex your toes back towards your face. Really pull up through that standing leg. It's easy to forget about this knee. A little bend is fine. Big bend is a lot of pressure on your patella. So pull up. Pull in through that low belly. Take a big inhale. Exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly. Find your warrior 3. Don't worry about perfection, right? Don't worry about what it looks like. Feel free to be super wobbly. You should be. Lift up to that left heel. Keep pulling into the low belly. Hands might touch the floor to find your balance. Inhale. Exhale, slight bend in that left knee. Step that right foot back. Wiggle it back if you need to. Inhale, Crescent Lunge, Ujjayi. Make sure you're on the ball of your back foot. Exhale, cactus the arms, goalpost styles. Drop the head back. Inhale, Crescent. Exhale, 2 hands down to frame your left foot. Pause. Lower down to your right knee. Come to stand on your knees in the center of your mat, however you need to get there. Once more, we're not going for depth. We're not trying to find the deepest back bend of our lives. We're just going to take a gentle Camels Pose. So stand up. Hands to those lows back. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, drop the head back. Press the hips forward. Very, very small. Exhale, slowly come back up. Plant your hands. Find your push-up. Vinyasa, skip it. Up to you. I'm going to skip it and sit down to talk to you guys. Meet me in Ardha Mukha, downward facing dog. If you need a second to do something to reset instead, even if small back bends are big for you, totally okay. But we're not trying to find any more depth in camel than you would get in upward facing dog or cobra, right? So pretty small in terms of our back bends in a yoga practice. Big full round of breath. All right, guys, we're going to change it up just a little bit and start to add breath to movement. Everybody, big exhale, empty it out. Inhale through your nose, out through your mouth. Inhale, extend that right leg, 3-legged dog or 3-legged tabletop. Exhale, right knee to your nose, shift forward from down dog or tabletop, or skip it if it's not good for you today. Inhale up, exhale your nose. Last time, inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose. This time, look forward, flex that right foot, step your right foot through to meet your hands gracefully or otherwise. Lower down to that left knee. Untuck left toes. Inhale, arms up to frame the face. Exhale, right hand grabs that left wrist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, gentle side bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, 2 hands down to frame your right foot. Curl left toes, lift left knee, don't launch, look forward. Can you slowly step forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold, keep the feet hips distance, plant the right hand, inhale, twist, however is best to you, towards your left. Exhale to center. Other side, plant the left hand, inhale, twist to the right. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive to stand. Exhale, hands to heart center. Plant down through your right foot. Inhale, left thigh up parallel to the floor. Optional to straighten the left leg if you prefer. Exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly find your warrior 3. We're just going to find your warrior 3. Gently bend the right knee, step the left foot back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, goalpost arms, cactus the arms rather, drop the head back. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands down to frame the right foot. Gently lower down to your left knee. Untuck the left toes. Bring that right leg back to meet it. Stand on your knees in the center of your mat. So you see where we're not going for depth in our camel pose, right? Hands to the low back, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, just a very gentle camel. Exhale, slowly release. Plant your hands. Step your feet back. Vinyasa or skip it. Meet me in down dog. Meeting me there. The next exhale or so. We'll do that on the other side. Big open mouth exhale, side out. Inhale through your nose. Out again through your mouth. Inhale, extend the left leg long. Exhale, left knee to your nose, shift forward, maybe from tabletop, maybe not at all. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Last time, inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose, shift forward, look forward, flex that left foot, step it through, however it gets there. Lower down to your right knee, untuck right toes, inhale, knee down, crescent lunge. Exhale, grab that right wrist with the left hand. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend to your left. Inhale, center. Exhale, two hands down. Curl right toes, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, don't launch forward. Step the right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Plant your right hand wherever it needs to plant. Inhale, twist to the left, however is better for you. Exhale, fold. Inhale to the right. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to your heart. Plant down through your left foot. Inhale, bring your right thigh up parallel to the floor. Maybe you stretch the leg long. Maybe you keep the knee bent. And then on your exhale, slowly, 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 can you find your warrior three? Just take enough time to go, I found it. Bend the left knee, step the right foot back. Crescent lunge, inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms, gentle back bend. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, two hands down. Lower down to your right knee. Untuck your right toes, bring that left knee to meet your right, however it needs to get there. Standing on your knees in the center of your mat. Hands to your low back. Inhale, very, very small camel pose. Exhale, slowly, carefully hinge up. Plant your hands, plank. Chaturanga vinyasa, or skip it. Meeting in Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Big, deep inhale. Exhale out your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. Lower down to your knees, child's pose. Option one, knees stay together as you press the hips back, getting that low back support. Option two, knees as wide as the mat, maybe wider. Belly comes in between the thighs. Either variation, forearms down, forehead down. Final option, if you would like some shoulder support, bring your arms back over your thighs so your palms face up. This can help relieve your shoulders. For some of us with tight hips, though, that might put us here, and if that's the case for you, don't worry about it. Now check in here with your breathing. Have you forgotten about it? For some of us, I know back bending can be a really big trigger. So if you're one of those people whose heart rate is really picked up, start to let your breath come down. Start to tell yourself that it's all right. That's what this shape is for, right? It helps you fold forward. It helps you reset. It also should be pretty comforting for most of us. Maybe not all of us. You can always take a seat. Let's just do one more big breath. And then optional to take some water, and then meet me in down dog. If you want to take a chaturanga vinyasa on the way, do so. And again, guys, if down dog is not a great option, you are so welcome instead to do a tabletop. Maybe you just stay in child's pose the rest of class. You're like, cool, Kayleigh, thanks, that was great. This is all I want. That's fine too. And when you get back to your down dog, any motion is great. So if you want to pedal it out, if you want to shimmy around. And then come to stillness as you're ready, or maybe you're still moving around a bit. So everybody, big exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. Inhale, extend that right leg long, three-legged dog. Exhale, gently step the right foot through to meet your hands. Shimmy's always welcome. Gently lower down to that left knee, untuck the left toes, and then rise up again to your knee down crescent lunge. So I forgot to say it, but do feel free to support that back knee if you need to. Now from here, we're gonna come into a twist, but we're not, again, going for depth. And if you're like, I need depth, take the depth, right? But really, we're just trying to work here on loosening up that low back, because I know a lot of us are sitting a lot, and that puts a lot of pressure on our spine. So again, we'll take a big inhale. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, lengthen forward. And on your exhale, I'm actually going to encourage you to take that right hand to the outside of your right thigh and press your hand down into that thigh to bring your left elbow outside of your right knee. And for some of us, that might be plenty, and you might just be like, this is great, I'm going to breathe. If that feels okay, bring the right hand back to the left, elbows in line with your wrists, and pull that right shoulder back. Now, I'm looking at the cameras here, but you're welcome to look over your right shoulder. Careful though, you might start to rock to the center of your mat, so really plug into that right big toe. If it makes you feel more stable, curl your left toes under. If you want some more depth, you can always lift that left knee off the mat. Totally up to you, but really rotating that right shoulder back. I'm going to move, but don't feel like you need to move. I'm just going to rotate to the other side of my mat. So the reason we're not going through depth is because I know this can be a lot. And you just did a pretty quick flow where we did a lot of back bending, right? So just go nice and slow here, just sort of twisting out what we just opened. In fact, let's do this as our last breath. Now slowly start to unwind here. Plant through the fingertips. Curl that left toes, lift the left knee. Spin your back heel flat and inhale, cartwheel the arms to your warrior two. And for those of you who do not like spending a lot of time on your back knee, this might be like that moment of like pure relief, right? So take a minute. Just check in, right heel, left arch, roughly in line. Inner right thigh is engaged, so you're still rotating your femur in, but instead of letting your knee follow it, keep your knee tracking with sort of like your middle-ish toe, right? Again, depending on your ability, depending on your anatomy, that might be different. If your arms have had it, hands on your hips. But as you lengthen, keep pulling into that low belly. Be careful of that sassy bottom. Inhale here. Exhale, gently straighten that right leg. Feel free to keep a slight bend in the knee. Optional to bring your back foot in an inch or so if you want some more stability. Inhale here. Exhale, triangle pose, gently hinge. Right hand to your right shin. Left arm can reach up. Left hand can come to your hip. If you have the practice to bring your hand inside the arch of your foot, that's okay. But make sure you're still rotating that left shoulder back. You're not collapsing here. Maybe you've got something to support the hand. In fact, that variation is better for my adductors, so I'm going to do that. Let's take 2 more big breaths. Big inhale here. Big exhale. Sorry, that was 3 breaths. Inhale back to your warrior two. Exhale, 2 hands down to frame your right foot. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. And then again, this is the part where we're just going to do something totally different. And don't worry about how pretty it is. So as you look forward, you're just going to slowly start to drag that left leg in until you can bring your left knee behind your right calf and then sit down. And you're going to probably start sitting on your heel, so shimmy to the side a little bit until, ta-da, your legs are in half Lord of the Fishes, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Now, of course, if this shape is not great for you, lean to your left, extend that left leg long, and give yourself more support. That's exactly what this is it just has more surface area, sometimes easier. If you're on the pinky edge of that front foot or your right foot, can you gently try to push your big toe into the mat? And if the answer is not yet, that's okay. From here, right hand's going to come behind you, press the palm into the floor. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, left elbow outside of your right knee, twist. Now, if that's hard on your back, you can always grab your knee with your elbow and give yourself a hug instead. But be careful. It's very easy with your hand behind you to lean back and collapse. So keep that spine nice and tall. Maybe you just look forward. Maybe you turn and look to the side. Maybe you look over your back shoulder. Up to you guys. So really plug into that right big toe. Inhale to sit taller. Exhale to twist. Last 2 breaths. Slowly unwinding. If you straighten that bottom leg, bend the knee again so your shin comes to the mat. And again, this is going to be a funky, not so pretty transition. Just lean forward until you can stand on that left shin and then move that right leg out. And again, it doesn't have to look like how I just did it. For you, it might be sort of like, I don't get it, and I'm just going to stand on my left knee and get there. Yeah, right? Perfect. So plant down through the pinky toe side of that right foot. Make sure your big toe is still planted, but you're lifting up a little bit through your arch. We're going to come into gate pose. So take an inhale to spin your arms parallel to your shoulders. Exhale, gently bend to the right. Light hand can come to your thigh or your shin. Just make sure it's not your knee. And left arm's going to reach up and over your head so you get that nice side body stretch through your obliques. Rotate that left shoulder back as you reach. Don't worry about the depth, right? I have a big side bend personally, but if you're here, excellent. If that hurts your arm, you can always bend your elbow, bring your hand behind your ear, and just let yourself roll the shoulder back as you breathe. Nice big breaths. Keep pulling in that low belly. Don't forget about your core. Last big breath. Inhale back up, arms parallel. Exhale, hands down. Wiggle that right knee back to meet the left, plank pose. And then up to you. Take a vinyasa, skip your vinyasa. Meet me in down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Beautiful. In your down dog, big exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. Inhale, extend the left leg. Exhale, left foot comes through to meet your hands. Low lunge, lower down to that back knee, untuck back toes. Inhale, knee down crescent. Exhale, hands to your heart. Lengthen forward. Left hand to left thigh. Push it away from you. Bring your right elbow outside of your left knee. Now you can stay here. If this is already a lot of a twist, this might be nice. You can always bring your hand to your shoulder. If that feels good, keep pressing the elbow down as you roll the left shoulder back. Hands press, wrists, elbows in line. Pressing into the palms is going to help you find that twist. Pressing into the top of your right foot will help you counterbalance. Maybe you look forward, maybe you look down, maybe start to look up. Optional if you want more depth to curl the back toes, lift the back knee, but that's totally up to you. You figure out where you need to be right now. And don't forget to breathe. Last two. Last one. On your inhale, to slowly unwind, bring two hands down to frame that left foot. Curl the right toes. Lift the right knee. Inhale, warrior two. And since we set it up on the other side, we'll set it up on this side. So just take a second, check in with your alignment. Check in with that front knee. Again, if your knee's super in front of your ankle, wiggle it forward just a little bit. Still using that inner left thigh muscle to support you. Notice if you're leaning forward, pull the low belly and pull the shoulders back. And then as you press into your feet, imagine that they're glued in place, but you're trying to push them away from you regardless, at the same time that your thighs are trying to pull you in. And if you're like, I don't know what that means, try it, see how it feels. Big inhale. Exhale, straighten that left leg. Welcome to shorten your stance a smidge if you want. Slowly hinge forward, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Left hand to shin, to thigh, maybe to support, maybe the mat. Right shoulder rotates back. If reaching up hurts your shoulder, hand can come to your hip. Same thing, if your hand is down, just make sure you're not collapsing. Pull that low belly, that right shoulder back. Big, deep flow breaths. Two more. Last one. Gently start to hinge back up, bend into that right knee. Warrior two, inhale. Exhale, two hands down to frame that left foot. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot and pause. Again, look forward, find some give in that back leg. And you're just going to slowly, I'm trying to bring my hands in front of me so you can see what I'm doing. Drag your toes back until your right knee comes to your left calf. And then lower down your shin. You would have to wiggle your left foot to the left so you can put your booty on the mat. And if you're like, it's okay, find just a way to get to this shape. Maybe that right leg extends long to counterbalance. Up to you. Now, same thing. Make sure that you're pressing that left big toe towards, if not into the mat. Sitting up nice and tall, you can always remove that healthy flesh from underneath your sits bones. Left hand comes behind you. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, right elbow outside of your left knee and twist. Again, if this is a lot, elbow finds your knee instead, but use those inhales to sit tall, exhales to twist, perhaps, maybe, As you twist, you start to lean forward a bit more to your sits bones and look over that back shoulder. Maybe you look forward. Up to you. Last breath. Now again, as you straighten that bottom leg, lean to your right so you can bend it and put your right shin on the floor. And then however you're going to get there, we're just going to slowly start to stand up so you can extend that left leg out long, parallel. And again, it's not supposed to be a pretty transition or even necessarily a intuitive transition. It's just messing with our brains. How can we get into shapes in weird ways? Arms parallel to your shoulders, press into the pinky toe side of that left foot. Inhale. Exhale, gently bend to the left hand to your thigh, maybe your shin, just not your knee. Right arm can reach up and over. If that hurts your shoulders, you might bend your elbow, bring your hand outside of your left ear, but keep rolling that right shoulder back, even if you're just here in your depth, totally fine, and breathe. If you're feeling wobbly, you can curl those right toes. Last two. Last one. Inhale, back up, arms parallel. On your exhale, hands down. Wiggle that left knee to the right. Find your plank, your push-up shape. Vinyasa or skip it, up to you. In your down dog, big open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. And lower down to your knees. Come to sit in the center of your mat with your legs long in front of you. Okay, so that was it. So that was our weird, embrace the ugly, embrace that felt very less than graceful moments of our practice. Let those feet rotate back towards your face. Feel free to remove a healthy flesh out from underneath your sits bones. And let's actually start here in a one-legged forward fold. So let's bring that right leg out, 45-ish, left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Or, whichever way you're going. From here, turn to look at that right leg, and instead of doing it hot 26 style, let's just bring your hands to frame your knee. Take an inhale, sit tall. And on your exhale, just walk yourself forward until you can't do so anymore. And you got some options. If you want to make this active, you can always grab the outside edges of your feet if that feels okay. You can even keep the hands by your sides, but active here would actually be to try to keep your spine long and look towards your toes instead of just rounding your spine. Optional. That's one option here. That would look something like this. If you want something to be slightly more passive, just let yourself tuck your chin and round. Wherever that ends up for you being, this might feel really nice on your low back, your shoulders. On your next inhale, slowly roll back up your spine. From here, let's take that left leg, extend it at 45. Bring that right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Trying not to cut myself off here. Again, feel free to remove the healthy flesh under your sits bones. Turn to face the left leg. Press into your fingertips. Just be careful your foot's not rotating in or out. You're still keeping it so that that middle toe is roughly in line with the center of your hip. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, slowly walk yourself forward. Now again, option one, pretty active. Hands can stay down or find your foot, but pull the shoulder blades back and keep gazing at your toes. Option two, passive, let yourself round your spine. Head can hang heavy. Just be careful that in your active doesn't turn into forcing mobility, right? So don't force your forehead to your knee, but if you have just like a little scooch of space there and a little tug is going to get you to a comfortable shape, do it. And then slowly rock yourself back up to sit. This time go ahead, extend both legs long in front of you. If that's hard on your hips, you can start with your feet flat, hands behind you and windshield wiper. That might feel nice. It's optional. And then second, or last bit of work before we make our way onto our backs. Legs long in front of you, feet together, toes pointed back, or flexed back rather, so this shape. Other option is to bring your feet about hips distance apart. If you happen to be farther well endowed, if you have a little bit more space here, or rather if you would like a little bit more space here, this will be nice. As you pull those feet back, you have the option of bending your knees a little or a lot, but keep pulling your toes back. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, can you keep your spine straight as you hinge forward? Again, your active stretch might actually be here, fingers down, gazing at your toes. You might come into a passive stretch, tuck your chin and round. Again, no right or wrong, just find a shape that feels good to you. On your next inhale, slowly come back up to a comfortable seat. From here, you're welcome to bring the feet flat once more. Any windshield wipering, etc. is welcome. And then as you are ready, again, options. Option 1, just gently lie down, however is best to you. Option 2, if you want something a little more active, you want just a little bit more core, you'll sit tall through here, reach the arms forward, pulling into that low belly, you'll just slowly start to recline. Find a place where you can tell you're doing some work and let yourself hang out. You might start to kind of shake. If you don't want to do this, don't. Just meet us on your backs. If you're in the more active core work version, can you lower down a little bit more? Maybe start to find some shakes if you're not already. And then slowly all the way down to your backs if you aren't there already. And bring your knees into your chest. I'm going to inchworm to the center of my mat. Any wiggles that feel good, take them. And then arms come to a T or cactus shape parallel to your shoulders. Just wiggle your hips to your left a smidge and drop your knees to the right. Coming into that simple twist, that simple release with the knees stacked. Again, just starting to release a little bit more of that back bending. We already did a 3 forward folds for the same reason. Feel free to put a pillow between your knees or something underneath that bottom knee. Last big breath. And gently unwind back to center, knees once more to your chest. This time scoot your hips a bit to the right and let your knees gently release to the left. And again, block or something like a pillow between your thighs might be nice, maybe below that bottom knee. Last big round of breath here. On your next inhale, gently back to center, both knees into your chest. And then from here, if you want to wiggle, you want to draw circles with your hips, rock side to side, make yourself a yogi ball, bring your forehead to your knees. All of those things are options available to you. So pick your preference. Never a right or wrong, unless you're hurting. Okay, that might be wrong. Don't hurt yourself. And then, as you are ready, start to find your final resting shape, your Savasana. A lot of options. Maybe you do a more traditional floppy Savasana, so feet as wide as the mat is wide, arms as wide as the mat is wide, maybe wider. You can wiggle the shoulder blades in a bit closer. Hands can come to your belly, maybe one to the belly, one to the heart. Wherever you end up, do let your chin tuck, so be careful of your head rocking back. If there's a different final shape you prefer, a different variation of Savasana, a fetal position, maybe recline bound angle with the pads of the feet touch and the knees opening to the sides of the room. All of these things are options available to you. And then big open mouth exhale, sigh it out. Inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. Releasing any Ujjayi or other practice that you may have. Thank you all so much for joining me, for sharing your breath, your practice, your hard work. Facebook, I will leave you here. Please take time if you haven't. If you are on Zoom and you want more rest, go ahead and leave the meeting so you've got that space. If you're on Zoom and you want to stay and chat, I'll hang out. The light within me bows to and acknowledges the light within each of you. Namaste.